Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right. Well, this should be a very interesting hump day as we roll into a very, very interesting time for the Buccaneers and the NFL in general. A lot of shoes dropped yesterday. Seattle has no intention of trading Russell Wilson, JP. He's not going anywhere. Well, that wasn't true. As we've told you many, many times, don't listen to anything that people say during this time of the NFL and say, they're not, well, the Seattle says they're not trading him, so that's not happening. What, are they going to come out and say that? Yeah, we're going to trade him to Denver in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned. All right, welcome to the show. We got a great show for you today, and we got everything covered. We got the Chief, Bobby the Chief Taylor, join us at 10:10, and we're going to kind of break down what's going on with this Lightning team last night against the very, well, frankly, below average Winnipeg team last night. They looked outmanned and outskated. It almost looked like they were playing Pittsburgh again. That's not good. Another, these slow starts have turned into maybe we're just not that good. And there's definitely some moves that could be made at the deadline. If not, you look for certain areas where the Lightning need help. You can't pinpoint one. Obviously they can improve in a lot of different places, but without any salary cap really to work with, it's going to be very difficult. But this team, maybe more than anything, needs an infusion of personality, of energy, of something, of accountability. This is not the team that we had kind of seen at different times this year. They just very inconsistent. They come back and tie up the game, and you think, wow, this team's amazing, and then they just continue to give up grade A chances after grade A chances and leave Vassie hanging out there with his jockstrap in the wind, and it's not good hockey right now. And Bobby the Chief Taylor will join us at 10:10 and figure that out for us. Greg Auman from the Athletic will join us at 11 o'clock, and we'll get his take on what the Bucs did yesterday. They franchise tagged Chris Godwin for the second time in a row. Statman Nick Geddes, Outkick.com, joining me here this morning, has an interesting stat on that you'd like to share.
Yeah, so since 1999, only 6 players who have received the franchise tag in back-to-back seasons have gone on to get a long-term extension. 6.
Interesting.
Just 6.
Yeah.
And if you're asking for the notables on that, the last one was Leonard Williams, who just got his from the Giants.
Yeah. It's so everyone thought that Chris Godwin would be here for a very long time, and those numbers suggest that's not going to happen, but we still hope that a deal does get done. I was very confident a deal would get done, and I'm shocked it did not. Something is going on within this franchise, and I cannot put my finger on it just yet. But Leonard Fournette basically came out on an Instagram post, I believe, or a social media post, and basically bid goodbye to Tampa Bay yesterday, which is interesting timing. Carlton Davis III will likely be gone as well. Someone will overpay for him on the market, so I'm not extremely disappointed in what happened in that situation. And this is just timing, would be the third best corner on the market behind J.C. Jackson and Stephon Gilmore, probably, even though he's not a ball hawk, doesn't take the ball away, but he's considered that good of a cover corner, and he'll prize market value might be in the high teens, which if you're the Buccaneers, do you want to spend that on a guy that doesn't get interceptions?
I think you would have been comfortable spending probably 13, probably 17 at the most.
But the problem is it's supply and demand.
Yeah.
Even though he may not be worth that, he may not be worth that as a player. Who else you going to put in there? Who else you going to go get? Now you draft a corner that might be better. Okay. Yeah. At the 27th pick, doable in the second round, maybe doable, but you don't know. It's an unknown. And this is the problem with the Bucs right now. They have so many unknowns.
Yes.
So many unknowns. So we're going to get into that with Greg Auman. Chris Palermo is going to join us at 11:30. this morning, our attorney and our title sponsor, and he's been going over this lawsuit and the latest developments with Stu Sternberg. And it's his belief that this jury trial that is going to happen unless by some miracle the Rays appeal it and win, which is very unlikely. If this jury trial were to go forward, it would be a disaster for Major League Baseball. So it's his opinion, and I'm just previewing a little bit, that something will have to happen with this. And that could be, Major League Baseball reaching out to Stu and say either sell the team or step down. But we're both in agreement that it's highly unlikely that Major League Baseball will allow this to go to a jury trial. Something is going to have to be done. They have done their history of avoiding legal proceedings like this, where there is discovery and public records could go public, is long and storied. They do not want that to happen. So something's going to have to give. Nobody's talking about this but us. But Chris Palermo will figure this out. And so if you're among the ilk that would love to see Stu Sternberg get the hell out of here, and I think that's a large portion of our fan base, you'll want to listen to this interview. So that's coming up at 11:30. All right, so I want to get into a little bit of what happened yesterday with Russell Wilson. Obviously, he goes to the Broncos, 2 1s, 2 2s, Noah Fant, Drew Lock, and Shelby, the defensive tackle, right? So it's a 10-player deal totally when you throw in the picks and everything, which is the largest deal since the Herschel Walker deal, the biggest deal in NFL history. It's a blockbuster trade. Everybody is weighing in on what the results are. And frankly, I think there's been this narrative that this Broncos roster is like Super Bowl ready. I don't get it. I don't see it. Their defense is average in the rankings at best. It's certainly not an upper echelon defense. Their offensive weapons, while lauded by some, are certainly a hell of a lot less than what the Bucs would be offering if they were to bring back some. And I think with Russell Wilson in the fold, you get a Leonard Fournette to come back. I think you get some of these other players to re-sign, a Ryan Jensen and others. That's out the window now. The only way any of those guys come back is with Tom Brady. And Tom Brady's not making that decision before March 16th when free agency signs. That's not happening. Because if he does want to play somewhere else, that would be stupid. He obviously would lose all of his leverage. So with the happenings of the last 24 hours, my overall take on the Bucs right now is there's something going on within this franchise that has not been made public. And I don't know what it is why did Chris Godwin not sign long term? Why is Leonard Fournette just throwing in the towel and he wants to go? Why is it absolutely a certainty that Ryan Jensen is out the door? Why is it Tom Brady doesn't want to come back to Tampa Bay? If that indeed is, well, he already said his goodbyes and there's all the smoke out there that he's coming back, but not Tampa. What is going on? I wish normally I would be able to tell you guys if we were in the locker room when we had all of our normal relationships built up with the players, but we don't. We've been out for 2 years. Yeah. So I can't, I'd love to sit here and bullshit you and say, I know what's going on. I don't, but I know something's going on. Yeah. Something's happening. There's the smoke is now billowing out of one Buck place.
It's open for speculation.
Yes.
I will opt to debunk some of it. Just trying to read everything here. The Chris Godwin, let's be honest, halfway through the day yesterday, negotiating up till 4 p.m. where the deal was, Mike Williams signed or stayed with the Chargers, $21 million. Now, Mike Williams,
average. What was the guaranteed?
I'm not sure the guarantee, but that's the annual hit right there, $21 million. Mike Williams is not in Chris Godwin's class.
Not even close.
Okay, and $21 million. I did see some people saying that was a big thing that was thrown into the negotiation table at the middle, was that he got that. And, of course, Chris Godwin's going to look at that and say, well, I'm better than that guy.
Right.
And plus, we said it yesterday.
Well, I would think that the Bucs are offering him $21 million AAV.
I don't know. I mean, we said it yesterday. It was honestly in his best interest to sign the tag, correct? If we were taking, the Bucs, or not the Bucs side of it, but his side of it, it was best that he took the tag, correct?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to factor that in as well.
From the Bucs side or from
Godwin's side? In some respects, you could argue that the tag was better for him.
Well, let's look at this. I mean, he's going to make $35 million. No, you made what? 16 last year.
Yes.
So, yeah, $35 million in 2 years, and then still be a free agent in 2023. It's kind of like the Kirk Cousins deal. It's not a bad move. I mean, that's $35 million guaranteed, which is about as much we've seen Julio got 60 guaranteed. So I think a healthy Chris Godwin would have gotten 55 to 60 million guaranteed because Julio signed his deal like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So healthy, but he's not healthy. And we got to remember, it's not just the ACL, it's the MCL as well. It was a major knee injury. So now I'm confident he'll come back and play well. You don't know. It's the human body. And you're putting it under extreme stress. And that hit that he took was freaking nasty. So you don't know. So maybe the Bucs lowballed him because of the injury situation.
I hope that's not the case because, Jason Light kept saying you have to do right by the player. Yeah. You have to believe in the player.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Chris Godwin has done to make you not believe in him when he's on the field.
He's hurt, though.
I get that.
As much as is there a bigger fan of Chris Godwin than me?
No, you call him one of the best 5 receivers in the league. You're higher on him than most, probably.
Yeah. But I also understand the restraint that the Bucs have to say is that you can't it's hard for them to offer super top dollar, which is what he would demand and deserve if he were healthy in this particular situation. To me, there should have been a meeting of the minds with this situation. I think Chris Godwin should have realized that, you know what, the injury happened at a bad time, but $50 million in hand is better than, and when you add the 16 he made last year, that's literally, you're looking at a deal. Had he got a deal done last year that paid him $66 million guaranteed, it would have been the highest guarantee in wide receiver history. That's not a bad deal. That's a pretty damn good deal. And I would have to believe that the Bucs were offering that. So I don't know. We're going to get into this a little bit longer. We got to take a quick break here early on to get Chief on the show. And then we got Greg Auman coming up at 11 o'clock. So we're going to get into all types of Bucs conversation here. Try to figure out what the hell's going on over at One Buck Place. And also with the Lightning as well. Stay with us. Hey, folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and needed a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will receive the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in settlements on behalf of his clients facing defective stucco damage and other construction issues. So call Chris, mention the JP Show, and he will give you a free consultation. That's 813-221-5636 or go to PalermoPA.com. He's a fifth-generation Tampanian graduate of Jesuit High School and the your loan. Now, Scott is an independent broker, so he can shop your mortgage around for the best rates, and he will pay for your appraisal if you mention you heard it here on the JP Show. That's a $500 to $700 value. Scott does not charge the huge upfront fees like the big banks do. In this uncertain economy and political climate, better to have cash in hand now. So call Scott at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the law offices of Christopher Palermo, who will be joining us at 11:30 to break down the lawsuit developments with Stu Sternberg and the Rays partners. But right now, we're going to talk some Lightning with our good friend Bobby the Chief Taylor, who joins us now. What's up, Chief? How are you, my friend?
Doing great, JP. Awesome.
I hope you had a better start to the day than the Lightning had to the game last night and many other games. I mean, I know I did, and it was a good 20 minutes on the toilet. So this team, as much as we love them dearly, something is going on with them right now that I can't put my finger on. Hopefully you can. But what I saw against Pittsburgh and even last night against the Winnipeg team that's below average or maybe average at best, this is not what I expected. They're getting outskated. I mean, the chances that they're giving up in front of Vasilevsky, I mean, only a goalie of your caliber would have been able to withstand that last night, Chief. That was ugly.
Yeah, it was. I mean, what really is puzzling to me and alarming at the same time is how many wide open chances they're giving up. It's about 6 or 8 games now they've had this, and you know, I know they've won games, and maybe that's what's kind of smoothing things over in their mind. But
yeah,
Pat Maroon was really right on last night. I listened to him when they were interviewing him, and he said, "This is all on us. We've got to start smartening up. Yeah, there's a lot of games left, and you know, they're going into a very tough part of the schedule. And the biggest thing for me is when you're playing every second day, just about, you don't have the time to practice. So there's not too many opportunities for them to work on things that they're not doing well, and that is defensive coverage. And it's you get against teams like this is what gets me here. Take away the 2 empty net goals that what Winnipeg scored.
Mm-hmm.
Coming into the game last night, they were 18th in goals, 4, like 2.7 goals. That's what they averaged a game. So they still had scored 5. And I just don't understand their thought process. I mean, when you get down behind, we've seen it with the Cup teams like Pittsburgh and then Colorado earlier. When you get down behind teams like that, you know, you have firepower, but they also have the defense and the firepower to withstand your pushes.
Right.
And that's the problem I have, because as you go along and you get into the playoffs, you're going against good teams, and they're going to be very. And I'm not saying that they won't come out of it, but I think it's time that they've got to start thinking about, wait, hold on a minute now. This has been going on for too long. It's 1 or 2 games, yes, I understand, but 68 games, the last 68 games, you know, I think that's something that they have to really take a long, hard look at.
Yeah, when you talk about the X's and O's of this, Chief, and it's not my, I didn't grow up playing the game like I played some of these other games. I self-admittedly do not understand a lot of the responsibilities of these players and the defensive scheme that they're playing. So is that anything? Is this an X's and O's thing, or is it just a lack of effort that they're just not staying with their guys? The turnovers obviously put you in bad position defensively. What is it?
I think it's a combination of all those. One of the things that I've always been positive with, when you watch their practice, they come back to a spot in the defensive zone, and if there's nobody in that spot, what's the point of being in that spot?
None.
You know, you got to come back and have an eye for where the danger is going to occur, in my mind, and also where those players are open. So if you take a look, sometimes when the puck's in the corner, we have like 5 guys down below the face-off circle and on that one side of the rink. Well, even if we get the puck, there's no place for them to go with it, because you still have like 1 or 2 guys who are on the other team could probably cover all 5 guys. It's I don't know what it is. I mean, I've seen it and watched it, and I can't understand why it's not being corrected or why. I mean, I know a lot of teams play that way. They think that they overload where the puck is, but
yeah,
there's so many backdoor plays and so many backdoor goals that are scored that I don't understand why you don't look around.
Yeah.
Even if you're going to play that way, you've got to look around to see where the guys are open.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I mean, it's like football. JP. If you got 5 guys on one receiver, well, guess what? The other 3 guys are wide open. So if the ball does come to him, I don't know. It's very puzzling because once in a while it happens. You get a little lackadaisical. You get a little. You cheat a little bit because of the fatigue or because you're playing a lot of games. But it's been going on a little bit too long right now. Now there's a time where you got to kind of smack yourself in the face and say, whoa, let's get back to where we are when we've been successful.
Yeah, Bobby the Chief Taylor joining us here. And McDonough said this last night, here, it's not winning hockey. We need to take a good look at ourselves and change something up, do something different to get ourselves mentally engaged and playing with some pace and playing with some determination at the start of the game. I mean, that's the remedy, right? That's the remedy. Yep. Now go do it. I mean, what is it that they need to change up? I mean, I'm not going to change their defensive scheme in the middle of the hockey season. Just focus on doing things better, I guess. I don't know.
Well, defense is hard work. Yeah, basically. And if you take a look, I took 4 of the top players. I took Stamkos, Killorn, Point, and Kucherov. Mm-hmm. Kuch was -4, Point was -3, and Killorn and Stamkos were -2. So what I'm pointing that out is that when they're on the ice right now, they're just can't wait to get the puck and go up the other end. So in other words, they're turning the pucks over at the wrong times. They're turning them over at the wrong areas of the ice. Mm-hmm. And Winnipeg was 8 points out of the last wild card spot going into the last night's game. So they gave up all kinds of chances for the Lightning. Hellenbuck played very, very well.
He did.
Vasi did too. Vasi made some saves that it could have been a 10-4 game.
Yeah.
But if you play, this is what is kind of the oxymoron of this whole thing. If you play strong defense, you get pucks sooner, and you have more time on offense. Mm-hmm. So it's not the other way that, we'll let Vasi and whoever's back there play defense, and then as soon as they get it, we'll be wide open to go up and play offense. Well, It doesn't work that way. Yeah. You've got to play solid defense because that gives you the puck more often and a lot sooner.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, this kind of looks like the team of about 3 or 4 years ago, where they were just all, they were just interested in beating every team 8-2, 8-4, and didn't give a crap about their defense and just let Vasi the defense. And then they tightened everything up, and they started playing more responsibly, and they won a couple of cups. And now it seems that they've kind of slipped back into that mentality. But the good news is a lot of these are the same guys, and they know how to turn it around. And this, you've been through this, Chief. This just be the dog days of the season, right? It's not quite stretch time, and the Lightning already know they're in the playoffs, so there's not this desperation to play every night like you got to make the playoffs. It's they're coming out of the COVID stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's they've won 2 cups. Complacency is almost expected, but it can't be. It can't do this much longer, right?
No. Yeah, exactly. And they've played a lot of hockey in such a short time.
Yeah, true.
What is it? I think it was like 283 days they've won 2 Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
That's, it's kind of crazy that.
Yeah.
And that's always overlooked too by a lot of people, myself included. So a lot of them, they played a lot of games. So what happens is when you're fatigued mentally, but you try to take shortcuts, and there's not too many times you're going to be successful,
right?
On a consistent basis, that is, if you're taking shortcuts. But I thought maybe because of the breaks that they had in February, where they had a very limited schedule, that got them refreshed and ready to go. And maybe last night was the major slap in the face for them because Chicago, they won in Chicago, 6-3, but they had a great. Vasi was great when they had those power plays in Chicago. Mm-hmm. Chicago had 11 shots on their power plays, and Vasi made save after save after save. If he doesn't, it's a lot different score than 6-3 fight in favor.
No question about it. All right, Chief, great stuff as always, my friend. I know you have appointed duties there, so tell the lovely Jan, have a nice trip, and I will catch up with you next week at the arena. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks.
The great Bobby the Chief Taylor right there. When you think about it, we've been kind of waiting for this. Like, it won 2 cups in a row. You know, it's other team every time I'm in, especially Winnipeg, who's having a tough season. Here come the Lightning, 2-time cup champ. You're going to get the best effort. They skated fast last night. They took advantage of all the opportunities. You know, it's almost expected. This is the lull that happens after you win 2 cups in a row and you played a lot of games. And I think, honestly, February, having what they play 3 games in February, 3, like, not a whole lot of games. Maybe that was just they got too complacent. That's when it sunk in. Oh, you're sitting on your couch a little bit. You're not going to the rink. There were huge breaks. This has just been a weird timing, you know, and hockey players are creatures of habit. It's just been weird.
I mean, you think about it, go back to the past, what year of hockey they've played almost?
Mm-hmm.
Last year was, how many games did they play last year? Like 50 games maybe, and it was all in division.
Yeah.
And 56 games, I think it was. And they were all in division and everything.
And then
was,
a full playoff.
It was right on top of each other. And then you went straight into playoffs where you're playing every other night. And then you have the short off season back to normal.
Right.
And then you get a big break like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't had a break like that in probably like 2 years.
Yeah.
So you naturally become adjusted to it,
Sluggish.
like you said. And they said it. Everybody was like, oh, the break's going to help. And they were kind of like, yeah, I don't know about that. You know, we like to keep it moving around here. But
I think and maybe to have put a positive spin on it is maybe, you know, that's just like, you know, your golf game, almost like you take a long time off. That first time back, you're really good. Like, first time back, you play great. And then the next 20 times you suck. And it's just not the normal rhythm. And maybe they're just a little sluggish. You know, I would bet guys probably put on a little weight. You know, you're not going, you can't simulate playing games every other night, once every, or 3 or 4 a week. You can't simulate that. Whether you're practicing, you're getting on a bike, you're doing whatever the hell you're doing. So I know it sounds like I'm making excuses for this team, but these are the same players. Well, not the same. There's a lot.
Few in there.
But the core is the same. Mm-hmm. And what we've seen the last couple of weeks is not representative of what these guys do.
Yeah, I'm glad you used the golf example because I had not been out since I had my hole-in-one. And there's a reason for that, okay? Because it's only down from there, and I don't want to see it.
Right.
I don't want to see it happen. But no, back to the thing that really alarmed me yesterday, and Brian Emblem pointed it out during the game. Connor Hellebuck has faced the most shots in the entire NHL this year, the most shots in net. And the Lightning only put 24 on him. I mean, I don't think people understand how bad that defense is in Winnipeg. I mean, 28th and penalty kill, and they weren't shooting the puck. They get into those lulls where they're just not shooting.
They had the puck all the time last night.
Yeah, and they get a little too cute with it. The turnovers, I mean, guys were losing blades like left and right.
Yeah, what was up with that?
It was odd. Kucherov, the awful turnover there to go
led
to
to
the fourth goal.
Kyle Connor goal.
I mean, every goal they scored, it was like right in front of Vasilevsky.
Yeah.
Right in front of Vasilevsky.
Sometimes a couple shots in front of Vasilevsky.
Yeah, and I'm not going to sit here and say he was sharp either. It was not his finest hour either. The first 2 especially, I'm kind of like, I'm like, I think you need to get those. But it's alarming. I know that they'll probably figure it out, and they preach that, but this is a telling stretch right now. This is a hard stretch of the season, and they can't continue to go on like this.
All right, so we're going to take a break. We'll come back. I want to get more into the Bucs situation because we didn't hit it for a whole lot, and then we're going to hear from Pat Maroon and some of the other guys and John Cooper as well last night to kind of give you a feel for what they think is going on. Tell you what. They don't straighten it out by Thursday night. They got Calgary. They're going to Calgary, and they will. Calgary ain't Winnipeg. They're first in the Pacific, and they're kicking ass. So it's time to put up or shut up, and that's actually pretty good timing for the Lightning. So back to the Bucs and the NFL. What do all these mean? These trades and Rodgers re-signing mean? We'll tell you about it next. PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course in Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth,
wow the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com.
Are you selling your home or refinancing? JP here for Greenleaf Title. You choose the title company, not the realtor, and it makes a difference. You want a reputable company that will make sure your title is safe and secure. There are a lot of scammers out there right now, so go with a trusted company like Greenleaf Title. Plus, they will close anywhere, folks, and they will send a limo to pick you up to come to the closing. Yep, the great JP Limo Closing is back. All you got to do is give them a call at 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. We'll set up the limo for you. They'll come pick you up. Heck, we even picked up one couple, took them to Black Rock Restaurant, one of our favorite advertisers, and then to the closing. That's how they do it at Greenleaf Title. Great service. We'll close anywhere. The lowest fees in the business. 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. That's greenleaftitle.com.
Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. If you're feeling run down, your workout sucks, or your sexual libido is not what it used to be, check out Bay Area Modern Medical Center. That happened to me a few years ago, and I found out I had the testosterone level of a second-grade girl. That's not good. Our food, environment, and stress can cause your T levels to drop. Bay Area Modern Medical Center can help, and they are different. They offer customized hormone replacement for both men and women. Christopher Lugo and his medical staff can help you restore your energy, your sex drive, and your feelings of well-being. It was a total game changer for me. I have way more energy, lost 30 pounds, and I'm performing better in all areas of my life. Nobody wants to talk about sexual health, but it's key to a balanced life. We offer discreet treatments with real-world results. So if you're suffering from a lack of interest in sex, ED, or lack of sexual stamina, Dr. Lugo and his staff can help. Take your health care to the next level at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. You can reach him at PalermoPA.com. If you have any stucco damage on your home, and many of you will have this damage on the side of your house where you see the cracks and your builder say, oh, that's just natural settling. Well, it may not be. It may be bad stucco work or cheap stucco that they used. And what happens is the water gets in there, and that's when it really starts doing damage to your home, and you don't know it till 2, 3, 4 years down the road. So what you got to do is call Chris Palermo and find out what's going on, because there may be some serious damage in there. And while you're not seeing the damage right now, by the time the damage is seen, your warranty is up and you're screwed. So there's a lot of things that you can do. So if you have those cracks in stucco or discoloring, or you have anything that maybe you just built a house or an office, commercial, residential, where you think you weren't happy with the way things turned out, and your builder is kind of like, oh, that's kind of the way these things are, we're not going to do anything about it, and you just think you're stuck. You're not. You're not. Call Chris Palermo at PalermoPA.com. Just go to the website, so you don't have to write down any numbers right now, PalermoPA.com, and have a free consultation, and he'll let you know if you got a case or not. So it definitely is better than going at it alone. And trust me, the builders, insurance companies do not want to see Chris Palermo coming. Trust me on that. Neither does Stu Sternberg. So we'll talk to Chris at 11:30 today, and he's going to break down. He's gone through the entire lawsuit and the proceedings of this last week and tell us how likely it is that Stu Sternberg can be removed as the managing general partner. Oh, wouldn't that be? I mean, literally, we would play the song Ding Dong, the Wicked Witch is Dead. Can you imagine the possibilities that this franchise, this city, St. Petersburg and Tampa Bay could do with Stu out of the way? The Tropicana Field site would be redeveloped into this beautiful, affordable housing, convention center, retail, shops, beautiful area, employing thousands of people and giving great economic impact back to St. Petersburg. That would have already been underway without Stu, in my opinion. The Ybor Stadium would almost be built already
had they gone ahead with the 2018 plan, it would have been built. We'd be moving into it this year. I mean, this is where the Rays would be, and this city would be without one guy clinging to his sister city BS negotiating ploy. It would be nice, wouldn't it?
Maybe.
Nirvana.
Maybe.
Would have kept Charlie Morton. Probably would have had a World Series by now. I'm going all the way now.
No, we said that. We said that in September.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, though, happy birthday to Rays today. 27th anniversary of the Rays being born.
Really?
On this day in 1995, it was all official.
Wow.
From Vince Namoli and company. So, happy birthday, Rays.
And what a journey it has been.
It has.
Yeah.
And we're still playing in the Thunderdome.
That was designed in 1924. Not many of you know that.
I just read a quote.
And by the way, that stadium is so obsolete. Any other owner would have moved this team to Tampa 10 years ago.
I read the quote from the Times paper. Mark Topkin put it up there of the story he did the day it was born. And the quote from Vince Namoli, if there was a better day in Tampa Bay, I'd love for somebody to bring it forward. And I sit here 27 years, and we're still waiting for that better day, I think. I do think we're still waiting for it.
What about the day the Bucs won the Super Bowl?
Well, this was before the Bucs won the Super Bowl, clearly.
Yeah.
But I found many for you now. But in Rays history, I think we're still waiting for that.
In Rays history, yeah.
In Rays history, because we're still waiting for either a stadium or a World Series or something to come through.
Well, and all due respect to the departed, may he rest in peace, Vince Namoli. He was an awful owner. He was terrible. The dude turned off the cable one time. He invited a band from Plant City to come do the national anthem and then charged them tickets. I mean, I could go on and on and on. He went to a Chamber of Commerce luncheon in a ballroom full of people and berated the hotel manager for not having season tickets and everyone else in the audience. I mean, it was just so bad that Major League Baseball had to remove him as the managing general partner. And then we get this guy who we've said this many times. We give Stu great credit for the analytics and bringing this whole new type of attitude to Ray. I mean, he gets full credit for that. But what he's done from a financial standpoint and how he's handicapped this franchise and handicapped the fan base by all the things that he's done, that we could just this litany of things. It to me, at least, it has overshadowed all the good that he has done. So I
have to ask just real quick while we're on the topic. Worst owner between Vince Namoli, Hugh Culverhouse, and the two guys who had it before Vinnick. What is it? Orrin Cools?
Orrin Clueless.
Lynn Berry.
Lynn Berry. From what you talk to a lot of people, everybody loved Orrin. But Lynn Berry was a shyster.
So,
he was a shyster.
So which of those three groups are the worst?
Well, you don't want to throw in Kokosai Green, the original Japanese mafia owners of the league. The great quote from Esposito. I kept saying hockey. They thought I was saying sake. Everybody got bombed, and before we knew it, we had a lightning team.
I throw them in there then.
Whatever.
Throw them in there.
Oh, and then there was the Crown Prince who wanted to buy the Lightning. Or that dude, Art Williams, the network marketing insurance dude that owned the Lightning. We've had some winners in this town, bro. We have had some winners in this town. But to me, Stu's a special kind because he came in, he did some good things, but then his greed has just blinded him to, and I think to some degree, he never really fully embraced the idea of what needed to be done, and in order to take it in the shorts for a little while and get the stadium done in Tampa, and watch this team flourish in a major market. It's just he's handicapped, and then I think he just got bitter, and then I just think he's at this point has been done for a long time. I think even in the beginning when he came up with the first idea for the sale stadium and got such pushback from the people of St. Petersburg I think he was really shocked by that. That he was like, oh my God, how do they not want to kiss my ass and give me a stadium like every other owner? And then I think it's just deteriorated from that point. But none of anything he's done in the last 6 to 7 years financially makes any sense whatsoever, except to just keep putting money in his pocket. And then when this lawsuit came out,
And you see what the things that he's been doing to his partners, allegedly. This is a verified complaint where these partners made these complaints under oath of their penalty of perjury. Nobody's doing that if they don't think they've been wronged or have the evidence to prove that they've been wronged. So I believe all of these things because it's consistent with the way he's run this franchise. He is not an honorable person to deal with. He's screwed over 3 mayors in St. Petersburg by lying and dealing in bad faith with them. He did the same thing to the Rays 100 and Rays 2020. All the leading businessmen in this latest thing where he put this, had some PR hack write this piece in the St. Pete Times and have all these great business leaders sign on to it, not really knowing what they signed on to or what they were doing. They got hoodwinked. He doesn't have many allies left anywhere. And I don't think he has many allies left in Major League Baseball either. I think the gig's up with the owners as well. I mean, eventually the lies will come out into the light. Eventually it will all be seen. We've learned this over history, right? And I think for Stu Sternberg, time's up. Time's up. And he just needs to sell the team, take his $1.5 billion profit, and see you later. And let Tampa Bay and some owners who really care about this area, who really care about the people of St. Petersburg and want to see that trop site redeveloped, which he's going to make money on, but just for the people and for the baseball fans of Tampa Bay who deserve a new stadium, for God's sakes. This is not that hard to do. We act like we're building the freaking Taj Mahal or Hoover Dam here. It's not that hard to do. It's a freaking baseball stadium. Everybody's been doing it. It's not that hard. Markets a hell of a lot smaller than ours have been able to do it. Oh, but we have the bridges and we're disconnected market. BS. There's 3.5 or 3.7 million people in this market now, soon to be about 4.2 in the next 4 to 5 years. It's going to be a top 10 market, and we can do baseball here. This is all these Florida's not a baseball market. No, it's because the Florida teams have done it wrong, grossly wrong, the entire time. Build a stadium that's adequate. Be nice for it to be state of the art. That'd be nice in the central part of the market, and people will come. People will come, and they'll, and by the way, you don't have to have 40,000 every night to be quote successful. You can average 20,000 a night. You're fine with all the other people that are watching on TV. So anyway, I think we're getting closer to that, and hopefully this lawsuit will pan out. All right, so back to the Bucs. I know a lot of people are bitching about why didn't the Bucs get Russell Wilson? And, frankly, there had to be a mix of a couple of things. Russell Wilson had to agree to where he wanted to go, and that team had to have better draft picks than the Bucs, and the Broncos fit that bill. I think, obviously, the deal that they got done with the Broncos, I don't think there's a deal that the Bucs could have made an offer to Denver that would have been better, without severe handicapping the Bucs now and in years to come. So as much as I would like, you got to have a quarterback. I just think that the price was too high. The price was too high. And I know you've been on Twitter and seeing some reaction to fans. What's the sense that you're getting?
A lot of people are coming at the Bucs. Why everybody does this? Whenever trades made, people that are reportedly in on that trade, that fan base goes, why? Well, why aren't you offering that? Listen, I can almost guarantee the Bucs called about Russell Wilson, did their due diligence, maybe put an offer forward, maybe didn't. But listen, every report leading up to this said if Russell Wilson was going to be moved, he wanted to stay on the West Coast. So just that alone, and he has his no trade clause, which he had to waive to go to Denver, by the way, that takes you out of the running right there. Your pick, all first-round picks are not the same.
Yeah.
The 9th overall pick is substantially better than the 27th overall pick.
And by the way, the second-round picks are also
substantially and most likely in future years.
When you add up the value of those picks, and we don't know what the future years are going to be, but every slot has a value.
Mm-hmm.
You add up total value of what the Broncos are giving them compared to what the Bucs could give them when further down on the line. It's not even close.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
And now when you're a team like Seattle and you clearly need a quarterback because, listen, Drew Lock was just thrown in for having some quarterback depth. He's not going to be the quarterback there. If they want now, they have the 9th overall pick. They're in prime position to take a quarterback and restart their rebuild.
They can take anybody they want in this draft. They should be available. Kenny Pickett will be available.
Yeah, Willis may be available. They just released Bobby Wagner shortly thereafter. So I don't
understand why they wouldn't try to trade him.
Trade Bobby Wagner.
His contract untradeable.
17 million cap hit. Last year was his first sign of decline, his first non-all-pro season in 5 seasons.
Yeah.
So he's not the player he once used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it really difficult. And I think they were just committed to just going straight to the rebuild. Let's just put that message out there. And so that's what Seattle did, which we said they needed to do.
Yeah, which I predicted they would do. And everybody said, Russell Wilson's not moving.
On the flip side of this, though, I did have an extra take on this, though. Unless Russell Wilson, and this may have happened, unless he actually said, I'm done being here, please trade me. Unless I know that happened, I don't know if there's even if you feel like you're going to a rebuild, it's hard for me to justify trading one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the game. And my example being, do you remember when the Saints had about 3 or 4 years during the 2010s where they were down, like going 7-9, I think, for 3 straight years?
The Aaron Brooks years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was, or not the Aaron Brooks years. Just when they had Drew Brees, like 2013, 2015, when they were down, like they were a 7-9 team. That's kind of the same age, Drew Brees then, that Russell Wilson is now. And I don't recall anybody saying, we got to move off from Drew Brees.
Right.
And I feel like that's my only thing with it. So what people are going to say, a lot of people are saying, oh, Denver gave up too much. No, you didn't. You got a top 5 quarterback, and now you're a Super Bowl contender.
Right.
End of story on Russell Wilson there.
I think it was a good move for the Broncos. For Seattle, and I think it was a good move for Seattle. They were going nowhere you have to, while those picks don't sound great, you can rebuild an offensive line with those picks. You can rebuild a defensive line with those picks and the players that they got. I think Seattle, I don't think they're a better team today, but I think in 2 years when Russell Wilson would have been 35, 36 and have gone through 2 mediocre seasons with this team, you have a better chance of being a better team in 2 years than you did keeping Russell Wilson and trying to compete in that division and in the AFC with what you got. I think Seattle would sometimes when you draft that poorly for 6 years in a row, you're going to pay a long price. And this is the price that they've gone to pay. They've got to do better in the draft. That's why the draft is so crucial. You can give away draft picks, but you better already have a solid roster. And like the Rams won a Super Bowl this year, right? They may be competitive next year, but after that, that's going to be a long time before the Rams are competitive again. And that's the same thing that happened with the Bucs when they gave away 2 1s and 2 2s for John Gruden.
Listen, let me tell you why Seattle had to do this. This is their fault.
Yeah, of course
this is their fault. You know why? Because they traded all their draft capital for Jamal Adams.
Right.
A
safety.
You can't even call him a safety.
Yeah.
A safety who, by the way, has like 1 interception in his career with Seahawks.
Yeah.
That's safety. So
they gave up 2 1s, right?
They gave up 2 1s and 3s as well to get Jamal Adams. And you killed
He's a great player, by the way. I think he's a great player.
I don't think he's that kind of player anymore.
No.
Since he got to Seattle. But yeah, this is Seattle's fault. You
don't give up that kind of draft capital for anything but a franchise quarterback. You don't. I'll give you a 1 for Jamal Adams. I'm not giving you 2 1s and 2 3s.
No, for a safety, no. I have a better shot of buying it if you're like Jalen Ramsey. If you want to give up 2 firsts for him, you can convince me.
No.
Jamal Adams, I can't.
No, because you can go and play those positions that are really good players, but it's not a position of humongous impact like a quarterback or an edge rusher,
a tackle,
or a left tackle. That's inside linebackers, safeties, running backs. I'm not going to say they're a dime a dozen wide receivers, tight ends. I say they're a dime a dozen, but you better be super freaking special. I mean, super, like game changing, like Aaron Donald special. I mean, I could probably name of the position players, non-quarterbacks. Especially when you start going to some other, maybe not as important positions. I mean, it's tough. But for where the Bucs are right now, and this is my concern. Leonard Fournette basically said goodbye to the Bucs. He's going to sign elsewhere. And I'm not saying they should have franchised Leonard Fournette. Lord knows what that would have been. To franchise a running back. Forget about it. I mean, those numbers are astronomical. You can't pay. Look at what Zeke Elliott. I mean, those numbers are. You don't pay running backs that second contract. You just don't do it. I don't care how good they are.
The Bucs did it with Doug Martin.
Yeah,
you want to go down that? You want to go down that hole
It never
again?
works out. It never works out. So
So where are the Bucs right now? They've got a ton of holes. They've kept their draft capital, but again, it's the 27th pick in the draft. What are you doing with that? And they're going to have a ton of holes. They're going to have to go find a number one corner. They need a starting left guard. They're probably going to need a starting center. Hainsey could be that guy, though.
Figure out tight end.
Who's going to be your tight end? And most of the good tight ends have just been franchised. Gesicki got franchised. Njoku got franchised. Dalton Schultz got franchised. So that group just pared down quickly. And the ones that are going to be left, you're going to have to grossly overpay for. You know who the best one left might be? O.J. Howard.
Oh, no, he's not even close. Trust me, he's not even close.
He might be, though.
No, he's not. No,
Listen, at this point, I wouldn't be shocked if they bring him back because I don't think his value on the open market is anything special. And at least he knows the system.
If O.J. Howard has any sense in this world, he's going somewhere else.
Well, I know. He needs a fresh start. I know, but I'm saying, what else is out there?
There are plenty of other options out there. I mean, Zach Ertz, we've mentioned, C.J. Uzomah, Mo Alley Cox. These guys are all better than O.J. Howard.
You're gonna overpay tremendously for all.
I don't think you're overpaying much for like a Mo Alley Cox.
We'll see what the number is.
We'll see what the number, but there's no way I'm bringing O.J. Howard back.
So I mean, there's just a lot of question marks. Carlton Davis III, and Ndamukong Suh. What are we doing with him? At this point, I would love to have him back. Anybody who wants to come back, let's have him back. Jordan Whitehead, although he was the one supporting AB in some of his tweets, was he not?
It was perceived that way. Anybody that's connected with AB, let's just say he's been a bit more loud on social media lately.
Yeah. All of it has this taste for me of these players. When we thought this was all nirvana here, that something is going on where they don't want to come back. Was it just the Tom Brady thing? If Brady doesn't want to come back here after all the success that he had here, I mean, they won 29 games in a Super Bowl, and he not a quote, but he said goodbye to Tampa Bay.
Well, we can't be naive here. I mean, if he's not here, you have to understand this is a business, and it's a business about getting paid. Yeah. Newsflash, everybody. Yeah. It's a business about getting paid.
And what do guys do after they win a ring? Time to get paid.
Time to go get paid.
Yeah, I got my ring. Time to go get paid.
Okay.
Where we thought a lot of this was going to happen typically the year after. Well, Brady stayed.
Yeah.
That was the galvanizing force.
This is exactly what we were expecting. Right. It just came a year earlier than we were expecting.
Exactly.
So, like when Ryan Jensen tells you he wants to be the highest paid center in the game, I don't look at it like, oh, he doesn't want to come back to Tampa. He's looking at it like, I'm a Pro Bowl, all pro caliber center.
Yeah.
I'm 30 years old. This is the last time I'm at my peak of hitting free agency. I'm lucky. I'm hitting it for the second time, by the way.
I'm up to the highest
bidder.
And
I've increased my value. I'm going to the highest bidder.
Yeah.
And we won a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. That's great. They took a chance on me. I was a backup center, and they gave me a high contract. That's fine. That's the way I look at it. I told you the Chris Godwin deal was doomed the second Mike Williams signed.
Yeah.
I mean, John Ledger did a great job of putting their numbers side by side right here.
Yeah.
I don't want to read all of it, but let's just understand that Chris Godwin is substantially better over his career than Mike Williams.
Right. Even
though he's been injured for a lot of that time. So you
have to believe that the Bucs offered at least what Mike Williams got.
I don't know.
Maybe they didn't.
I don't think they did. I really don't think they did. But now you have to understand, if you're locking him up long term, you're going to 22 to 25 million. That's where you're going with Chris Godwin. I'm not saying he's not worth that. I don't know if the Bucs were planning for that, is what I'm saying.
Well, and the cap will go up significantly in 2023. So there'll be some room there. But look, it all comes back to quarterback. Who's going to be the quarterback? So now the focus shifts, and there's a lot of reports out there. I think Ian Rappaport said on the Eisen show that the Bucs are going to take a big swing. All right, Rodgers is off the market. By the way, we don't know what those numbers are. I said this yesterday on the show. Pat McAfee is disclaiming all the reports of 4 years, 200 million, 50 million a year, blah, 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 because he knows, that's going to perceive Rodgers as greedy and not leaving room for anybody else. And we don't know what the numbers are.
Rodgers tweeted himself yesterday, to his credit, and said that's factually there's no deal yet.
Right.
He did guarantee he's coming back, but there's no deal. And I think he did say that it's going to be cap friendly. That's what Pat McAfee said.
And of course it will be. I mean, if they're going to spread it out over 4 or 5, 6 years, absolutely, it'll be much more cap friendly. But in the end, they're going to have to pay for it and pay the piper at some point. But that's okay. You got Aaron Rodgers. He's coming back. They're going to hopefully be able to put the band back together. Mm-hmm. And I think he's probably heard a lot of the criticism about him taking up too much of the cap room. So if he's smart
and he really is about his legacy, he will make it cap friendly.
No,
and I think more than anything right now, he wants to stick it to all his critics.
Yeah.
So if he does come out and take less money like Brady, they're all going to have to eat it.
Yeah.
And so trust me, I think he wants to do that more. That's worth more to him than the extra millions he could probably get. So now what's the big swing? Jimmy Garoppolo? That's a bunt.
He's the biggest fish.
That's a bunt. That's
not a bunt.
That's a drag bunt at best.
It's not a bunt.
It made me a sacrifice bunt.
It's not a bunt.
It's not a big swing.
It is a big swing.
It's a big swing and a miss.
No,
is
it's
what
not.
it is.
It is a big swing.
No, he can't play in this offense. He's not a good fit. You can't push the ball downfield with any type of accuracy whatsoever. He doesn't throw with anticipation. No.
Hey man, I'm going to shock your world here. I wouldn't have a problem getting Carson Wentz. I wouldn't even have a problem with that.
Again,
I mean that. I am a Carson Wentz defender.
Carson Wentz defender.
Yeah.
That's bad. That puts you in Dan Orlovsky territory.
I agree with most that Dan says about him.
Yeah.
He gets way too much flack because he played in Philly. He played in Philly and he got way too much flack there.
It's like I look at his numbers, like 27-4, right?
His numbers are there.
Like his numbers, 27-4.
Yeah.
He only threw 4 picks.
He's one of
all 4 of those picks were the worst picks I've ever seen in my life.
I understand.
And there's so many, like watching him play at the end of the season, I was like, this guy's freaking horrible. It's like he makes the average throw, makes a lot of average throws. But very rarely do I go, whoa, look at that throw with anticipation. Oh, boy, he fit that one in. Oh, that was a great. I'm just like, but then I do say, and he had a lot of interceptions dropped this year. I'm like, wow,
everybody does.
I know that's especially against the Bucs. That's awful. It's like, wow, he's just awful. And I don't see him as a marked upgrade. And what are you going to have to do to get him? How much are you going to have to pay this yo-yo?
I'm not trading for him because he's on that 3-year, $80 million contract. But if the Colts release him, which they might, I'd take a flyer. I would take a flyer.
I'm doing the Gabbert Trask. And move on with it.
Which is probably the likely option.
Don't give up anything for that. I'm not giving up anything.
No, I'm not giving up. If he's out there on the market, is what I'm saying. I'll give him a 1-year deal.
All right. So brings us to Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh hell no.
I mean, to come in and be the only reason I signed Bridgewater is to compete with Gabbert and Trask.
Ugh.
But that just seems like three people competing.
Everywhere that guy goes, he ends up being the starter somehow. And you know what your ceiling is?
And then he's mediocre.
You're going to be 6-11, 7-10.
Right. So again, I come back to the Trask Gabbert option.
And that is probably the likely option at this point. So get ready because that's where it's heading. Because Deshaun Watson, I mean, we'll see what happens on Friday with those cases, but
and then in June. Tom Brady is coming back.
He's not coming back.
Tom Brady's not walking through that door?
He's not coming back. I don't care.
He's not walking through the Bucs door.
No, I don't care if he's still drinking water. I don't care if he's eating avocados. He's not coming back.
Did somebody think he was just like going to go all John Goodman and just
the guy's been on
the Big Lebowski?
How long has he been on the method? Like 15, 10 years?
That ain't happening.
Yeah.
Trust me. In 20 years, he's going to look exactly the same as he does now because he did a deal with the devil. He's a time traveler and knows where the fountain of youth is. He's not going to look a stitch different than he does right now in 20 years. And but he's playing.
No.
He's coming back.
No.
He's coming back.
The
Bucs will be in full rebuild mode by then, and they'll go, oh, we're going to get – and maybe the 49ers will do something stupid and give up some draft picks. Do they even have any draft picks left? They moved up.
That I know of.
Yeah. So as much as I've tried to fight this since the season ended, I'm coming to the realization now that we have to use the R word.
We'll say it.
It's time to rebuild. Not reboot, not reload. It's time to rebuild. And we got to go find our next quarterback. Maybe it's Kyle Trask.
We have to find out if he's the guy.
Well, listen, his resume is replete with one thing. People counting him out and him proving everybody wrong. If that's one thing that's on his resume, that's it. So go dust off your Florida Gator tape. Go back and look at it. Get excited about Kyle Trask.
And bring in Dameon Pierce. We could have a Gator quarterback and backfield.
Yeah, I love Dameon Pierce. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Greg Auman's going to join us. We'll get his thoughts on what's going on with the Buccaneers. He's the best in the business for The Athletic covering the Buccaneers. We will chat with him next. Homeowners, listen up. Property values have risen in the Tampa Bay area to record levels, some up to 24% in 1 year. It's time to refinance your home and pull out the equity before rates go through the roof. Call my man Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Scott believes interest rates will be over 5 very soon due to the volatile economy and inflation, but you can still lock in the mid-3s, but not for long. This means you can save tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. Now, Scott is an independent broker. He can ship your mortgage around for the best rates, and he will pay for your appraisal if you mention you heard it here on the JP Show. That's a $500 to $700 value. Scott does not charge the huge upfront fees like the big banks do. In this uncertain economy and political climate, better to have cash in hand now. So call Scott at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Hey, folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very consultation. That's 813-221-5636 or go to PalermoPA.com. He's a fifth-generation Tampanian graduate of Jesuit High School and the University of Florida, and he cares deeply about you and the community. That's 221-5636 or PalermoPA.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock.
This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com. Our second hour brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a different type of medical center to get you healthy. They'll look at your total body fitness, your diet, your supplements, and everything. Make sure that you're in good shape all the time. And you can contact them at BAMC.com. All right, let's bring in our man, Greg Auman, who covers the Bucs for The Athletic, best in the business, joining us here. What's up, Greg? How are you?
Hey, doing well. Hope you are too.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of developments yesterday around the league that certainly impact the Buccaneers from a lot of different directions. But we'll start with the franchise tagging of Chris Godwin. And my mate here, Nick, came up with a great stat that since 1999, only 6 players that have been double tagged have actually signed long-term contracts. I don't know what that means for Chris Godwin, but historically it may mean he's not around here much longer. But that remains to be seen. What do you think the ramifications are of this tagging and perhaps not being able to tag Carlton Davis III if they had wanted to do so? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the best scenario was definitely going to be them being able to get Chris to a long-term contract, just because that lowers his cap number for this year to a lot lower than $19 million.
Yeah.
This is a team that doesn't have a lot of cap flexibility to begin with. So to have that much locked up in one guy, I mean, they still have a week here where if they can get a deal done to give him an extension, before free agency kicks in next week, that really makes it a lot easier to keep a lot of the smaller pieces that could leave here. And that's still very possible. I don't know how close these two teams are, whether it's just, close enough where the Bucs wanted to use the tag to buy another week, or whether that's something where they're not that close. We don't know whether Godwin wants $18 million a year, whether he wants $24 million a year. Mike Williams with the Chargers just got 3 years and 60.
Right.
And you could really compare those two very closely in that they're both coming, off their fifth year. They've both had the same number of games. Godwin certainly has more catches, more yards, more touchdowns. He's been to a Pro Bowl. They both are number twos behind really well-established number ones, in Mike Evans and Keenan Allen. Mm-hmm. So you would think that Chris Godwin should think he deserves, better than 20 a year or better than 40 million guaranteed. And I don't know where the Bucs are compared to that.
Yeah. That's the one thing we don't know. I wish I have this fantasy that in all sports you get to see like franchise sticker on a website what the Bucs are offering and what the counter offering. Wouldn't that be fun? Then we could really compare, right?
And then we've gotten spoiled by these baseball negotiations because the baseball negotiations are completely public. We're offering $700,000 for the first year and $720 the second year, and the counter is $735. And you know exactly where the two sides are, and it's almost annoying because you're like, why don't you guys split the difference and play baseball?
I know.
But we don't know where things are, and we don't know which side, if either, is being unreasonable here. It could be that they're really close, and we have a deal, today, tomorrow, Monday.
Right.
And they have a little bit more of the flexibility they like to have, but we really don't know that.
Well, Greg, I think you laid out in your article, tremendously well. And, I don't mind getting bogged down on numbers because I think it really illustrates how beneficial this is for the Buccaneers. If you want to recount it, or I'll do it, it's right in front of me. If they offered him $90 million, $54 million guaranteed, which I think is right, as you just described, right where it needs to be, that would free up $13.2 million in cap space, and they could use that how, in your estimation?
Yeah, again, $13 million doesn't seem like much, but the way the Bucs can work deals, even without getting into real tricks like voidable years and stuff. I think the math I had done is that I don't. The problem is that we don't know what any of these guys are asking. Right. But if we look at what guys are projected to get, if you wanted to offer Alex Kappa and Jordan Whitehead 3 years and $24 million, that's $8 million a year for guys that have never made more than $2 million a year.
That seems fair.
That puts their cap number at like $3.3 million each. Okay. Mm-hmm. It looks like Leonard Fournette kind of might be out of play at this point.
Right.
But again, in theory, what I laid out yesterday is that you could basically re-sign Kappa, Whitehead, Fournette, and Golston
with that money,
with Godwin for the same prices, for the same cap space, I should say, as what it takes to have Godwin on the tag. So if anything, you almost could sit here and say, if the Bucs, if it's close, okay, if they're $1 million a year apart, basically overpaying by $1 million would also buy the Bucs $12 million in cap space this year. And again, if your concern is keeping this team together and staying relevant and staying successful, that's an important $12 million. That's all I'm saying. So
exactly.
It's like I said, we don't know what any of these guys want. It could be that in the post-Brady reality, they all want to get paid. They'll be happy to take more money elsewhere because it's less of a sure thing that you're staying with a winner here in Tampa. So there's a lot of things we don't know. But we do know that it certainly would be better for the Bucs if they had more flexibility in the next week here.
Yep. Greg Auman joining us here. And I think that's honestly probably what Godwin's agents are banking on. It's like, this is a good offer, but it's going to get a lot better next week when they have to really start making offers to guys to get them under cap.
Well, and the other thing that helps Godwin is that, Godwin can sit and play on this, right?
Yeah.
And he's got all this leverage as a guy coming off a major injury.
Right.
The guy tore his ACL in December and still has all this pull. So every time another receiver comes in, like Williams yesterday, you could see, A.J. Brown or any number of these guys getting new deals. And every time somebody not as good as Chris Godwin gets a new deal, it ramps up the reasonable expectations for what a deal for him would involve.
Right.
So it's kind of in his interest to push this a little bit. I do think if you wait until after free agency to sign, you're doing it knowing it's at the detriment of the team you want to be a part of.
Right.
So I
Exactly.
don't know that it's in his best interest to just keep this going until July 15th, which is the deadline to sign a franchise, because giving your team $12 million in cap space in mid-July isn't really doing him much of a favor.
Greg Auman joining us here. And, at one point I was hope they get the Godwin deal done. Then they can franchise Carlton Davis III. And then you start looking at the numbers, $17 million for a guy that's had 5-6 interceptions in his career and has missed 14 games, 7 of them last year. And I think he's a very good cover corner. The Bucs defense is way better with him than without him. But that being said, he's $17 million. And that's a lot of money. And I think it's more than he's necessarily worth, but it's supply and demand. You're going to get to replace him.
Yeah. Right. It's tricky. And, corners that are seen as number one corners don't come available very often.
Right.
So I think it was another thing. SI put out their free agency rankings, and he was like number 12 at any position.
Wow.
So again, if you have a 25-year-old corner, again, Carlton Davis missed 7 games this past year. He's had injuries too. So it's not like it's a stone cold lock. He's going to give you 17 games every year. But again, usually when those guys come available, they can be pricey. I think we're seeing the Patriots kind of take the same gamble with J.C. Jackson in not franchising him, letting him hit the market in hoping that there's not quite as much demand as there could be. Corner is kind of a weird position because wherein, receiver, we've seen guys go up into the mid-20s in terms of annual per year compensation. Corner hasn't really had too much of that so far. So guys like Gilmore, guys like Jackson, guys like Dave, you don't know whether it's 19 million a year. I think Spot Track might even have like 20 million a year on him right now as the projected value, or whether it's just 14 or 15 million.
Right.
We don't know. And the only way you find out is, unfortunately, by letting him go to the open market, which is what's going to happen probably here in a week.
Greg Auman joining us here. All right, so I know you're not into the sports radio speculation game with Brady and everything else, but you're connected. And I know you have thoughts, and there's this overall feeling now that where before it was everybody wanted to come play in Tampa Bay, and now it's like they can't run out of the building fast enough. It's on fire, smoke everywhere. Is that just because Brady's not here? I mean, is it? Do we have to kindly come to the realization that we're back to being the Bucs now that the Brady shine is off?
Yeah, I think right now it's just the natural momentum of things. Right now they don't have Brady, and they lost Ali Marpet rather unexpectedly.
Yeah, it was a big blow.
Because we haven't seen any of the moves we certainly expect to see in the next week. You see a team that has $2 million in cap room or negative cap room to cover the Godwin franchise tag. So it's easy to say, okay, Ryan Jensen's got the Ravens and the Bengals and the Dolphins chasing him at $13 million a year. And Leonard Fournette's basically saying goodbye on Instagram. And, you can do the math and they could really lose a lot. And with each guy they lose, it's less incentive for the other guys that are on the bubble to stick around. So I kind of felt like, getting the Godwin deal done could almost be a linchpin in the right direction. Like it could be a change the direction type move where it's like, well, hey, Chris Godwin's saying they're going to have a really good offense. So maybe somebody like Whitehead or somebody like Kappa that's kind of in the middle is going to get well paid, but not break the bank well paid, might stay. They're going to make some, decisions here on really key players, and they're going to keep some. They're not going to lose everybody, but they're certainly not going to keep anybody either. Keep everybody either.
And your sense is I still think Brady's going to play. I still think he's going to play, but I don't think it's going to be here. For whatever reason, there's a lot of smoke that just seems to say, I sent you the Zolak article where he said not, that whole thing has been out there. We don't know why, but it's not Tampa. What do you think's going on there? Any idea?
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of bored people that are spinning speculation right now. There's not a whole lot from Tom. They got headlines that like TB12 is still using the TB12 diet. Wow.
Still carrying the water
bottle. I can't
bottle.
believe that he's still eating healthy while making millions of dollars a year on a platform that encourages you to eat healthy. That's the
Shocking
revelation there. So no, I don't know. Again, like the Bucs have certainly come out kind of hard line, and Bruce is saying that to let him play somewhere else would be bad business, and it would take 5 number ones. I don't know. And I don't know. Part of this kind of hinges on when he makes a decision that he wants to play, and that if he waits until June or July, most teams have a quarterback in place. So that's not to say that there aren't a lot of teams that would rearrange things and make room for a Tom Brady, but I still think of it as unlikely that he comes back.
Well, we shall see. Any other? So, what do you think's next up for the Buccaneers here? Obviously, next week free agency starts. Do you think you expect them to get some other deals done with these guys? They really don't have a whole lot of money to do it now, unless they get Godwin done. Right?
No, I do. I think you'll see restructurings with Jack Barrett and Vita Vea. I think you'll see other restructurings or extensions with guys like Mike Evans or Donovan Smith. There's lots of ways they can create cap money.
Mm-hmm.
In the short term, I mean, Godwin, they don't have to count Godwin against the cap until he signs his franchise tag, and I don't know that there's a need for him to do that anytime soon. So that money's kind of available right now.
Okay.
So no, I think we're going to see in advance of Wednesday. I mean, a week from today is 4 o'clock is when guys can start signing elsewhere. So I think you are going to see a handful of players that are signed and kept and never get to the open market because they like Tampa, they want to be here, those kind of things. It might not be the big names. It might not be Jensen or Davis or even the second-tier guys like Kappa or Whitehead, but I think you're going to see some re-signings and at least some things back as a starting point before things get crazy with free agency.
And the quarterback situation, you think it's going to be Gabbert and Trask, or there are reports out there that the Bucs are going to take a big swing at Deshaun Watson? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, with Watson, the tricky deal there is just that I don't know that the Bucs have a whole lot to offer in a trade.
Right.
If he's if, and it's a big first step, that if Watson can clear things up legally and make himself someone that NFL teams are comfortable trading a lot of draft picks for, I just think there's going to be other teams that can pay more, whether it's Washington or Carolina. I think that's the hindrance there. It's not that I think the team would probably sign off on it if they wanted to do it. They've signed off on a lot of other guys that had accusations against them.
True.
I think what makes the most sense for the Bucs is not to give up a ton of picks or a ton of cap room, and just to get somebody they think is an upgrade on what they have. And if that's Teddy Bridgewater, if that's Carson Wentz, if he gets cut by the Colts, I don't think it's Jameis Winston. I don't think it's Mitch Trubisky or some of the other kind of low-end free agent types. But like I said, I think it's reasonable for them to want somebody with a little bit more upside than what they have, and not to just hand it over to Trask and go straight from Brady to someone who's never taken a snap in a game.
Going to be interesting. All right, Greg, tell the folks where they can get all your content at theathletic.com. Any specials going on there?
Yeah, I honestly don't know if it's still live today, but I mean, we've had for about 3 weeks here. It's been $1 a month for the first 6 months, which is a great deal for new subscribers. If that's not there, there'll be something similar in place soon, kind of building up to the craziness of free agency next week. But everything I write is at theathletic.com. I'm on Twitter at my name, GreGauman.
A must follow and a must read. He is Greg Auman at The Athletic. Thank you, Greg, for your time. Really appreciate it, buddy.
Oh, no problem. Have a good one. Take care.
All right. Yeah, see, that's this is where this Godwin thing is kind of, as he said, the linchpin to the whole thing, and I'm just still shocked that it didn't get done. And his agents are right. They've got more leverage next week as we get closer to free agency, and the Bucs want to sign these guys. He does. They will, and maybe the Bucs will up their offer. But it does handicap the team. No question about it. It handicaps them in their ability to bring other guys back. And I know Godwin is a team player above all, and he doesn't want to do that. But he's not going to take it in the shorts either. That's silly. So there's a meeting of the minds, and hopefully it'll be in the next week or so, and it can open up a lot of cap space for the Bucs to get some stuff done. And I think the word Craig used there was really good, momentum. Right now, the momentum is running out the door. It really is. And they need something positive to happen to bring people back in and get people excited. And that ain't Kyle Trask. It ain't Blaine Gabbert. I don't know what it is, but even getting more guys signed of your good players to keep this roster together gives you a chance to win the NFC South. And, even I think Gabbert, and if you can retain a lot of these guys, you can win the NFC South. But if all these free agents leave, if Fournette gone and Jensen's gone and Carlton Davis is gone, there goes 3, effectual Pro Bowlers. You just can't lose 3 Pro Bowlers off your roster and be the same team. You're not.
Well, I think in the case of Leonard Fournette, I'm not sitting here crying over him potentially leaving. I'm not. I told you all year long that you can look at his production, you can look at his improvement as a pass catcher, whatever. I just don't think he's that good of a running back myself. And I think I think in this draft you can get somebody. They're a dime a dozen. We were having this conversation off break. That I could care less almost who's running behind you there. I mean, I think Cordarrelle Patterson being on the market.
Oh, I'd love to get him.
I mean, could you imagine
Love to get him.
I mean, and he's not a guy I don't think you have to pay a lot of money for. I know this is probably as high as his value is going to be.
His price went up last year, no doubt about it.
But beyond using him as a running back, I mean,
great receiver, return guy,
kickoff return.
Which we can't return squat.
No, you don't. So I think he would be a really good fit. They have some things they could play around with, and Greg, he does a really good job of like putting out there what the Bucs can do to restructure.
Yeah,
we know what they could do, but one really simple thing: you want $10 million in cap space? Well, guess what? Add a year on to Donovan Smith's deal and make it a signing bonus.
Yeah,
boom,
of course.
$10 million. It's that easy.
Yeah.
So there is some things they could play around with, but I've said before, the Marpet, if he was still here in the fold, I'd maybe have a different opinion. But rebuild seems like the most likely option right now. And you have to understand, like you said, the Bucs are always going to be the Bucs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For better or worse. Brady got a shine on this franchise.
He did.
I have hope that the culture will be better, but I can't guarantee it's going to be a destination like it was for him.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And you would hope that bleeds over a little bit, but you're losing this many guys of your core guys. It returns you back to mediocrity, and you hate to say it, but that's where we're at right now. And I think the only thing honestly that changes that is if they get at this point who's left, it's Deshaun Watson. And then what do you, as Greg said, what are you going to pay to get him? And there's so many other teams that have much better to give. This is what happens when you win a Super Bowl and your players, the reason you won a Super Bowl is you got good players. Salary cap hits you. Everybody, they got their ring. They want to go get their bag now. It's the way it works.
And newsflash for you. If Houston's already maybe the worst roster in the NFL with Deshaun Watson on it, not on it, the Bucs trading you the 27th overall pick, I'm sorry, it ain't doing it. I think a lot of people, and maybe we did, had wishful ambition that, okay, well, we can throw picks there, but your picks aren't good.
Yeah.
The Commanders, I can't believe I just had to call them the Commanders. That's weird.
Doesn't even sound right.
No, it's awful. The Panthers, some of those other teams that are desperate for quarterbacks, I mean, their picks are in the top 10. Like, it's just, you have no chance to compete for Deshaun Watson, in my opinion, right now.
Kyle Trask could be the second coming of Kyle Trask. I mean, that's what he does. He gets counted out, and then he becomes a really, really good player. Well, I guess it's kind of just happened at Florida. It's not like it's happened 100 times. I don't know.
It's just making me laugh because I know that we said that might be the best option, but we have no idea what he's going to be, but we're already starting it. We have to look on the bright side of Kyle Trask.
Is Gronk, Gronk's gone. Godwin's going to be, he won't be his 100% when at the beginning of the season. Fournette's going to be gone.
Yeah.
AB's gone. Carlton Davis is going to be gone. Ray Jensen's going to be gone.
Alex Kappa, maybe.
Wow. All right. I guess that's where we are. It's time to,
and quite frankly, I'm stunned. I am stunned by it because, I mean, I don't think I was thinking that when I watched Matthew Stafford throw to Cooper Kupp and I realized that we were losing that game. I didn't realize that we were going to have
7 more years of darkness.
Yeah. We're going right back to there. Hey, what did we tell you for 2 years, right? We said, enjoy it.
The rebuild's coming.
Live through it.
The rebuild is coming.
Yeah, because the other side of it's not going to be good.
Damn you, Tom Brady. 1 more year. Damn you, Tom Brady. All you had to do is come back.
Stop that language. Thank you, Tom Brady.
Damn you.
Thank you.
Yeah, what are you now you're going to come back and try to play in June. You could have put this whole band back together. Everybody, you didn't even have to come to OTAs. We were going to make you come to OTAs. Go eat avocado ice cream. Go sleep in your little bed there in San Mateo with mommy and daddy. Do whatever you got to do. And just in July, get your ass back here and let's put the band back together.
Oh, so now you want preferential treatment for Brady. Now you do.
Oh, cool. Well,
last week you're getting on to me for falling over for the guy. And now you want him to sleep in his own bed and pet him a little bit. Yeah. Avocados. That's what you want to do now.
All you had to do was say, I'm coming back, and then just come back in July. You didn't have to do anything else. And then everybody be signing up. People be running in the door, and here we go again. Brady's on, blah, 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 blah. No, he's got to be a little, I don't like the way they treated AB.
Well, you don't know that. You don't know that to be true.
Well,
we could speculate. It might be true, but who knows?
Well, what he didn't like Bruce coming in and adding something to the game plan? What was so terrible? The 29 wins in a Super Bowl in 2 years. What the number one offense? What was so terrible, Tom?
Why can't we just accept that Giselle wanted him to retire? Why can't it just be that simple?
Can't be that simple.
It has to be.
He's at the top of his game. You don't take a man out at the top of his game.
Was he at the top of his game against the Rams?
Not really.
Okay. Thank you.
Because of that terrible game plan. I don't know. It's sad. It's sad to me that
I'm not sad. I can take it.
Well, but how pissed off are we going to be when he decides in June he wants to come back and we've lost all our players, so he definitely doesn't want to come back here. We're in rebuild mode.
I'm not even in that.
And then we're forced to go, let him go play somewhere else.
I'm not even in that mindset. I'm not. I've accepted he's moving on. And listen, I encourage all Bucs fans out there, real Bucs fans, not the one who latched on to the bandwagon the last 2 years, the real ones, okay? Take Tom Brady, the before Tom Brady. You've lived through this, what you're about to go through again.
I know.
I put a tweet out there. I watched, okay, and maybe you watched. I don't know if you were still in Atlanta. I watched Mike Glennon. I watched Bobby freaking Rainey at running back, and I watched Chris Owusu at wide receiver. That was 7-8 years ago, okay? I lived through that era.
Wow.
I lived through it. I can take it.
That just reeks of XFL.
It does. It does. I can take it.
That's where we're going?
Yeah, we might be going there, as I'm just saying. I can take it. And the Bucs fans need to stop acting so arrogant right now, acting like, oh, we got to get a great quarterback now. No, you were spoiled for 2 years. We were spoiled for 2 years.
Yeah, but we also understand that it's that quarterback that makes everything go.
It does.
But and we say that, but then look at all the great players who are around him. Came great situation. This team was, I kept saying it. This is a playoff team. This is playoff teams with Jameis. I mean, we're getting close. And, it was just the turnovers and the BS. And then, Brady comes and fixes everything. It's about the quarterback, damn it. And
it is.
And I think the rules have so allowed passing that it's made every other, offensive position almost irrelevant. Like running back is irrelevant.
It is.
In wanting more offense, we've allowed now it's quarterbacks are the most important part of the game. Running backs are completely unimportant because it's so easy to pass the football. Maybe we should dial that back a little bit and make running games more important so it's not just about the quarterback. Any thought to that?
In all respect to the era of football you grew up in, I probably would not be watching football if I had to watch the football.
Bob Greasy was 6 for 7 in the Super Bowl.
No. I love passing. I love this brand of football, and I'll tell you this: I say it all the time. It's so predictable. You can throw 70 times in a game. 70 times. The defense could know where you're throwing it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter now. There's no elite defenses in the NFL anymore.
Well, so I don't know if it's as good a game, to be honest with you. I used to love watching Larry Zonka and Mercury Morris, and Jim Kick run up the middle and outside and steamroll people. I used to love watching Mike Allstott do that.
Yeah,
just take over a game in the second half, just bludgeoning people. That's fun to me. Right now, throwing the ball 70 times and 30 of them are incomplete. Is that really that exciting? As opposed to, seeing a badass running back take over a game with 30 carries, just bludgeon people. I like that football.
But that
means something to me. It may not mean something to your generation. The Madden generation. Hit the X button or whatever the hell you're doing there. Ooh, let's throw the ball. Like, well, recount. I'm like Mike Allstott just trucking people. I mean, that's good. The freaking place is going bananas. The A-train whistle is going on. That's exciting football to me. Why does it always have to be throw the ball every freaking play? Let's drop back and play flag football. F that. Let's have some men back in the game. Give me some Larry Zonka, baby. Let's go. Earl freaking Campbell. Let's knock some fucking people down. Let's beat some people up. Let's go. Let's drop back and throw 70 times. Did you do the cut? What's wrong with that? Let's get some real football back into it.
Real football.
Yes, football where people collide. You got to tackle that mofo.
This sounds like the original XFL promos from back in the day. We're gonna have bulldozers and we're gonna have wrecking balls and they're just gonna hit everybody. Doesn't matter. That's what you sound like right now. You sound like Vince McMahon promoting the XFL.
Well, let's do it, brother. Let's go. Put Hulk Hogan in the backfield. Run some people over.
No. You're making me go against Mike Allstott, who's my favorite all-time player.
See how I did that?
Don't do that.
Well, that's what. But we're phasing out. We're phasing out the Mike Allstotts in this game. In the name of scoring and passing. Does that, just because there's more points, does it make it a more exciting game?
Yes.
It's getting kind of predictable, actually.
It is.
No, I'm not saying we need to return to 6 for 7 in the Super Bowl by Bob Greasy, but maybe a little bit more balance is okay. Maybe I love watching great running backs do their thing.
I don't even watch.
Go back and watch the highlights of Walter Payton and Earl Campbell, and it's just steamrolling. Larry Zonka just knocking people over. I mean, that's football.
Larry Zonka was hardly an athlete.
Oh my God, kids today.
People have evolved. Accept it.
All right, quick break. When we come back, Chris Palermo is going to join us, attorney. We're going to dig into this Stu Sternberg developments in this latest in his legal case, and could he be ousted as the managing general partner, thus opening the door for sanity, more spending, and God forbid we say it, a stadium in Tampa. Stay with us. PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course at Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, wow the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com. Well, it's never been more important to support each other and support local businesses like Italiano Insurance that has been around for over 60 years, serving our community with great customer service and also giving back to our locals in need. Their Metropolitan Ministries Holiday Food Drive was another tremendous success this year. Why call a 1-800 number when you can call your trusted neighbors at Italiano Insurance who will save you money? In Boca Grande, 941-964-0400. That's 941-964-0400.
Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? Set you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the law offices of Christopher Palermo, who will join us in a moment. Also, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a new way of taking care of your body and your health. Find out more at BAMMC.com. Great folks over there. Christopher Lugo is going to join us on the show tomorrow. So give you guys some great tips on how to stay healthy in these crazy COVID, post-COVID times. So join us for that. All right, let's bring in the aforementioned Chris Palermo, attorney Chris Palermo, who joins us now. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Hey, JP, how you doing? I'm doing well.
See, did you, I know you're probably working for your clients before this call, but did you hear my rant on let's bring back the Allstotts and the Larry Zonkas of the world, bring some physicality back to football, get rid of all this wussy passing, all these quarterbacks making gazillions of dollars?
Well, it's interesting. No, I did. And I apologize, JP.
Okay.
I literally.
You can go back and listen to it on the app. Yeah.
I will. No, I do that. Actually, it's definitely how I listen. You know, you and I think, have talked about this a little bit. I just think it's a cultural thing right now.
Yeah.
I think that the brand of sport, I mean, look at it in all sports. I mean, you've got football that's gone to this style of play that diminishes concussions.
Yeah.
You have the National Hockey League that has gone to a style of play and an enforcement of rules that, you know, to mitigate concussions. And I just think the style of play is taken hold culturally. I don't know if I think the fans like this fantasy football, John Madden video game style football.
That's what exactly what I just said.
Dinosaurs like you and I like the old, Pound the Rock.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
I
It
don't
ain't
know
going
if that
back.
gets ratings anymore, JP.
Yeah. No, hey, listen, but there was, we don't have to go back to Zonka, but Mike Allstott, when the A train was running through defenses in the third and fourth quarter and controlling the game, I don't think I've ever heard Raymond James so loud. It was winning football.
Look, think about it. Tennessee Titans are attempting to win with that formula.
That's right. It's a great point, and it works, by the way.
And it does work. And if you can just get a competent quarterback. Look, the old style of football was defense, running game, and game manager quarterback. I mean, look, some of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history followed that model. Yep. Bart Starr, Bob Greasy. I mean, these are guys that won championships, and they were just slick. My father told me that, that Bob Greasy was the slickest ball handler.
Yes,
because he was. He ran the game. He did a lot of the things that Brady does.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But listen, that style of football, I don't believe will ever go out of style if people commit to it. I think Belichick has kind of committed to it.
Yeah.
I think Belichick has kind of said, look, you know what, Tom, that's how I won the first 3 Super Bowls with you. I'm going to go back. We're going to focus back on defense, run game, physicality, and we're going to plug this kid in that's just not going to make mistakes.
Right.
And Belichick's trying to ride that to another Super Bowl to try to get even with Tom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll see if it works. All right, let's dig in on our friend Stu Sternberg here. While, the mainstream media, the Times, and everybody else has basically ignored this lawsuit, we have not. And we think it has merit, and we think it could lead to something very positive, including the either the sale of the Rays to a friendly party here locally, or a removal of Stu Sternberg. Tell us why this decision last week by the judge was so important.
Well, and we kind of alluded to this a little bit when we were speaking, back when our focus was on the Sister City killing match. This lawsuit, Stuart Sternberg was desperate to have this lawsuit heard in an arbitration completely. Okay. Because number one, arbitration, when you go through arbitration, you go through an organization called the AAA, American Arbitration Association, and they kind of manage the arbitration process. And there's arbitrators that are there and approved and this whole rigmarole. And when you get referred to arbitration, it's not the same due process that you get from a circuit court. A circuit court has things called interrogatories, requests for production, requests for admissions, subpoenas for documents and things from non-parties. You have depositions. Depositions ducis tecum. We'll have documents. All of this gets put in the public square. When you're in an arbitration environment, none of that gets put in the public square, and the discovery rules are scant. I mean, you literally don't have the same robust discovery mechanisms that you have available to you in a circuit court. And then whatever happens just stays nice and secret. Everything, nobody knows, you know what I'm saying? Like, if the tree fell first, did it? Nobody heard it, did relief all?
Yeah.
And that's what Stu was attempting to get through. I personally feel, we were sitting here talking yesterday, he's probably not happy at all about that ruling. And I'm going to tell you something, that judge had courage to make what I think was the correct ruling.
Yeah.
And you and I kind of talked about it. I think I alluded to it. These arbitration clauses in these contracts, I do a ton of this stuff when I deal with builders. So one of my major lines of business is that when people have homes that they bought or second or third owner, and they'll buy a home, it's within the statute of limitations or what's called the statute of repose, stuff will just start falling off their house, okay? And we've got to litigate, and the builders always want to drive these things into arbitration. They love arbitration. And I'm not casting dispersions on arbitrators, but they're going to give you a more conservative ruling. They just are. There's a reason that big entities love arbitration agreements. And when you get in the circuit court, I mean, he's not going to be able to hide his dirty dealings. So this is what's going to happen, JP, is I believe that the dirt that will start to matriculate into the public record at the circuit court level will start to offend the conscience of ordinary people. I think Major League Baseball will start to feel the heat of this man. And this is the thing. I mean, you listen to Pravda. I'm sorry, I meant the Tampa Bay Times, and you end up seeing, you end up hearing a propagandist like Romano. I don't even know how Romano has a job anymore because he's not a good face broker. I mean, he spent 2 days essentially lambasting every owner in Major League Baseball except for Stu Sternberg.
And he's the worst offender.
He writes this article that is almost like you almost think that he set this article up by acting like he was pro-player, anti-owner for 2 days so he could come in and do Stu's dirty work.
Yeah.
The Tampa Bay Times has lost all credibility. The thing about it is this judge, with this ruling, this is a matter of tremendous public importance, okay? And I'm going to harken back to you and I are old enough to kind of remember Watergate, right?
Yeah.
And we need to know if our owner's a crook.
Yeah.
You know how, you remember, that's a famous line from Watergate, where Nixon gets up there and says, you need to know if your president's a crook. Well, we need to know if our managing general partner's a crook. And the beauty of it is this. We're going to find this out. And now I'm going to harken back to another Wall Street. Another Watergate reference. What did Major League Baseball know, and when did they know it?
Yeah.
When did they know? Because I'm going to tell you what, if I'm Major League Baseball right now, the collar's getting tight.
Yep.
The collar's getting tight because I'm telling you, did they facilitate this? Major League Baseball, when did Major League Baseball know what Stuart Sternberg was up to? When have they crossed into the realm of conspiracy? See, all these things are going to start to build. I'm not alleging. I'm just saying that those are the facts that could start to bubble up.
And let me stop you there because I think people will get the question that people are asking is, what is this? What exactly do you think did Stuart Sternberg do that is the most egregious that Major League Baseball, and even, let's be honest, the entity, whether it be Hillsborough County or I don't think it will be St. Petersburg, but Hillsborough County would say to themselves, do we really want to do business with this man? Like, is this somebody that we want to get into $1 billion deal with? If he indeed defrauded all his partners and as absolutely his fiduciary responsibilities have abdicated them tremendously and defrauded these people. Do we want to do business with this guy? Should we have to do business with this guy? Should Major League Baseball have him as an owner?
I think that's a hugely legitimate question. I mean, I think a lot of people probably rolling their eyes right now listening to this conversation. I'm sure several people, people
Stu
listen.
is. Romano is.
What's that?
Stu might be. Romano might be.
Romano.
I think the fans are very much interested in your answer. Like, what is it? What has he done that's so egregious?
But listen, I'm going to tell you what. Look, and you and I had a conversation where I explained to you some of the instances I dealt with in property trusts. Okay, a lot of people invest in property trusts.
Right.
And you have minority limited partners, you have beneficiaries, you have all kinds of construct where you essentially have some in the role of a trustee or control person, and then you have minority people who have a financial interest, but they don't have the mechanisms of power. Okay, right. There is a control person has the power to do certain things. Okay, they may not ultimately have the right to do it, but they have the power. They can go to the bank and they can write a check. A limited beneficiary doesn't have that. You know what I'm saying? A beneficiary is on the bank account, things of that nature. So you end up having a control person who can manipulate the process. They can do things because they have power. They have the power of the pen, their signature, their control, and they can do things like what is being alleged here to work around agreements.
Right.
To build a facade of technocratic. Stu wanted to go into an arbitration and make a hyper-technocratic argument as to why what he did was really not nefarious.
Right.
I think that's going to fall on deaf ears. So let's talk about what he did. He essentially wrestled control of the general partnership shares.
Right.
To essentially render the agreement impotent. He essentially became both the elected official and the constituency.
Right.
He was voting for himself.
Right.
I mean, you can't. I mean, this is like, I mean, the way he set this up, and then where I think a lot of this just absolutely became so egregious is when these poor folks had to start paying taxes on gains. I think that's where the audacity of this.
For the people that
is,
let me just say this real quick. So what happened is because a lot of people don't know what's in the lawsuit. They're hearing this for the first time or second time. So what's alleged is that he got this huge payment from the Fox Sports Net at the time, what it was, it's now Bally's, this upfront payment of close to $400 million. And then imputed those gains to the limited partners and said, okay, hey, you made, your 10% on this last year, but by the way, I'm not going to give you any income to that because of COVID. We need that income to run the team, which is all bullshit. And he said, but you still have to pay taxes on gains. I mean, you could talk about the onion on this guy, the audacity.
The IRS imputed it. The IRS imputed it. Listen, this is what ended up happening. He did his tax returns, whatever. I mean, however they're doing it, the K-1s and whatever's getting sent to these minority folks. I mean, we get to a certain point that only their CPAs know exactly the machinations there. However, in general, yes, what he did was he played with cash flow.
Right.
So I'll give you an example. If somebody comes to me and wants me to draw something where their compensation is based on EBITDA, earnings before interest and taxes, or interest before taxes, whatever variation. The first thing I'm thinking is you want to have a mechanism in there where the control person can't just sock away profits in salaries. Okay, that's a huge thing that people do. I explained to you.
And by the way, this is alleged in the lawsuit. He won't tell the partners what he's paying himself, what he's paying his inner circle. He refuses to tell them what that is, that number. And also, not only is he paying himself a salary, but charging the LLC or whatever the partners huge in management fees. Like this is all money that's going into his pocket, but not quote. Plus the money he's made in the appreciation of the and nobody is saying, hey, you can't make money, Stu Sternberg, but you can't be making it at the expense of your partners and then here's where it gets bad for Major League Baseball. He's telling all the fans, I don't make any money. We've never made any money. I put all the money back into the team, which is a bunch of horse shit. It's a bunch of horse shit. And then he's getting revenue sharing money from these other owners crying poor. And now from the lawsuit, the other owners are going, you got $500 million you just put into a new company? Where the hell did that money from all the revenue sharing money you haven't been spending on the players? I mean, when these other owners got to look at this lawsuit.
I told you the story. I told you the story of some of the litigation that I had to deal with.
Yeah.
With trustees of land trusts. These guys, listen, when you let somebody have control, they can start squirreling away money in salaries, in sundry charges. I love looking at in sundry charges. You have no idea how many times when I deal with a situation like this and I'm analyzing the person with the fiduciary duty, I start to become amazed with the games they start to play.
Right.
I mean, they start funneling money to this LLC and that LLC. Toilets are being fixed. Literally, you'd think that these are government contracts. These are like contracts.
And here's the common sense. Yeah, exactly. Here's the common sense of why, nobody goes to the games, but he doesn't want to sell to anybody at any price. Well, why is that? Well, look at the revenues. The revenues were over $300 million. His payroll has been around 60, 70, 80 million. Add in extra player costs of insurance, minor league and all that. It's about 110, 115. They do no marketing.
Every independent analysis says he can easily support $100 million.
Easily. And just do the math. Do the math. He's not paying anything for Tropicana Field. He doesn't have any note. He doesn't have any lease payments. He doesn't market the team. So what the gap between the $300 million in revenues that he makes and the 115 to 120 at most he spends on players, so $180 million. Where's that going? Where's that to the left? Okay. Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
He tried to keep that whole Fox Sports contract secret.
Yeah.
He didn't even want to admit that he signed the extension and got the big $300 and whatever million upfront pay. By the way, non-refundable. That money is his. That got paid. That money can never be drawn back.
And then moved into a shell corporation or another corporation.
Moved into a shell corporation and didn't let any of his people get a taste of it.
Right. I mean, so okay. So now, bottom line is we've kind of outlined all the nefarious stuff that he's done. Great work. Yeah. So now, what fans want to know is this strong enough case? Because these partners, what they want is to have him removed. There's 5 other counts where they're going to get some financial remuneration if they win in arbitration. But this last count,
those are what are called kind of damages, money damages.
But the last count, the judge said is, quote, a different bird. And that's the one where they can have him removed. And this is the one where, as we've said, Major League Baseball does not want this going into open court under any circumstances. That's not good. They don't want all that stuff you described, the depositions and all that. There is no way Rob Manfred, especially as unpopular as he is right now, wants to have a Major League Baseball owner drawn into court and all their books. The Major League Baseball book can then be subpoenaed. It's not just the Rays. They may not be able to do that.
Well, listen, I'm going to ask the question. What did Major League Baseball know? When did they know?
Exactly. So all that is open.
What's going to happen is you can't go on fishing expedition. So let me kind of talk about that. Listen, you can't use a civil trial to go on a fishing expedition and start going up every wormhole you see. Right. Like you can't just start subpoenaing records. But what's going to happen is this: a crumb is going to fall out.
Right.
A crumb is going to fall. It's always a crumb. Look, this is what happened to John Gruden. Nobody would have ever heard about John Gruden if it wasn't for the unrelated investigation to the Washington Redskins, which uncovered these emails.
Great point.
This is how it always happens. The best laid plans of mice and men go wrong.
Well, Major League Baseball doesn't want the numbers of like the revenue sharing that the Rays get. They don't want those numbers out there. The general fund money, which every team gets, they don't want that number out there, which obviously would be discoverable with the Rays. So the point is, Major League Baseball does not want this to go to a jury trial. So what are
without a doubt? No, they don't want this in they don't want this in circuit court, open court. You know what, JP? We can get in there and we can petition to have this covered live on TV.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we only got a little bit of time left. I got to rein you in because you're a bulldog.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you, there's all these possibilities. So let's get to the one thing I know you want to talk about, and let's talk about baseball and what I think they can do now.
Okay.
So I'm going to go through really quickly what I think are all the possibilities. Okay, I would personally, at this point in time, Once everything's answered, because I have to look at the procedural posture, but now the Stu and all them are going to have to answer the complaint in the circuit court, at least to count 6. That's then what at some point the pleading phase will be closed. Once the pleading phase gets closed, I would consider, even maybe before that, I've been involved in litigation that court, people have gone in for emergency naming of a receiver. A receiver is a financial professional that's at the behest of the court. Like there are certain financial professionals that are available to the 13th Judicial Circuit, the 6th Judicial Circuit, and the judge will go ahead in the interest. So, hey, we can't allow any more damages to occur here. We don't know if your allegations are correct or incorrect, but there's enough foundational evidence here that we believe, out of an abundance of caution, let's put in a neutral party just to drive this vehicle to conclusion until we get to the bottom of all this. Okay, that's a possibility. I don't know if they're going to do that.
So the court could appoint a receivership, so somebody else to run the franchise.
The plaintiffs, I think the plaintiffs could move for that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And again, at that point, Rob Manfred's going to no, you're not putting somebody in charge of this team. They did that with Namoli. They put McHale. Remember, I forget what his name was. McHale.
Let's go through the 2 that I think are the best precedent. Basically, George Steinbrenner got suspended from operating the ball club for 2 years for hiring a PI to dig up dirt on David Winfield.
Right.
Okay. Now, let's compare and contrast allegations. Digging up dirt on Dave Winfield are defrauding to the tune of millions of dollars minority partners. What's worse?
I would say, defrauding probably.
Mark Schott, same thing, was suspended and eventually driven out for aberrant comments, disgusting, vile comments, but words nonetheless. This person here is stealing or allegedly misappropriating millions of dollars. I personally feel if I was Major League Baseball and I wanted to CYA and get ahead of this story, because I'm going to tell you, when this thing breaks, baseball is going to have so much egg on their face. It's going to be disgusting. You know what the country's going to ask? You've been enabling this man? Right. For how long have you been enabling this man? And even if Major League Baseball ends up having no liability, they will look like a pariah in the public square.
Yeah.
They will look like a pariah if they don't stop this man.
Right.
He looks like somebody that would be in the Leave It to Beaver show, but he's not. He's a cold-blooded guy, man.
Yeah. All right, we got about 2 minutes left, partner. So we think that possibility is Major League Baseball could appoint someone to take over the franchise. And there is
precedent for that.
And I've said this from day one, and backed up by people who buy and sell franchises in Major League Baseball and other sports. Any other owner would do this deal with Hillsborough County in a heartbeat. It's so much money to be made in a bigger.
It seems
so the baseball.
Let's talk about this real quick, Jake. Let me just throw this in because I know you're kind of. There's a fair market value, and then there's Stuart Sternberg value.
Right.
Stuart Sternberg always is looking to. Let's watch. You and I have talked about this. He is going to try to triangulate Hillsborough County, Pinellas County.
Yep.
He can't help himself.
He will.
Just can't help himself.
Right.
And this is just going to hemorrhage worse.
Yep.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's going to try to play St. Pete against Tampa.
Without it. He's already setting this up. He's already
knowing full well that Major League Baseball will not allow him to build a stadium in St. Petersburg. More games, more dealing. And this is the big thing. All this has been alleged in this lawsuit. He has also done in bargaining in bad faith with City of St. Petersburg over Tropicana Field redevelopment, holding that up unreasonably so, and then holding up building a new stadium. He's holding up 2 major cities from moving forward on projects that will greatly benefit both of these marketplaces, which to me is a much more egregious thing that he's done than actually what he's done to his partners, because it affects a lot more people. But it speaks to the person.
It's not actionable problem. Look, hardball negotiating is not actionable.
I know that's not actionable, but it talks to the way he does business. It's the way he does
It's
business. And
way,
while the Times wants to hold him up as this great owner, it's honorable man, it's just completely erroneous. And they've done a disservice to St. Pete and Tampa. Yeah, exactly.
It's not in keeping with the facts.
I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, this Romano column, we were going to talk about it today, where he's talking about the Rays, however, appear to need the revenue sharing to remain viable, while MLB stubbornly refuses to open.
I want to cover this with you, JP.
Well, we only got a minute left, bro.
Listen, I'll give you this 1 minute. Do you know that the Chicago White Sox get revenue sharing?
Yeah.
So go look at revenue sharing. Some of these are cities that would make your mouth open. The fact, Romano and Tompkin want to make it seem like we're the worst fans in the world because that's what Stu has ordered them to go out and say.
Yeah.
No, revenue sharing and being a recipient of revenue sharing, albeit we are the largest payee, us in the Marlins, but not by as much as you think. There are certain clubs receiving $25, $30 million in that zone, and these are markets. I mean, under Stu's logic and under Romano's logic, the Pittsburgh Pirates are trash. The Kansas City Royals are trash. I mean, we could go to at least 15 franchises that are trash.
All right, partner.
You get what I'm saying?
We are out of time, and I think we've established that there's definitely some actionable things that are in this lawsuit. Major League Baseball is going to have to make a move sooner or later, unless they want all their dirty laundry out in the circuit court, which they most certainly do not. So I think it's definitely worth watching. I appreciate you coming on and explaining a lot of this, and hopefully we'll see in the next few weeks when the offers are made from Hillsborough and St. Petersburg that Stu's going to do his usual dance and try to deflect and play one against the other. But hopefully we're not going to let that happen. Hashtag remove
you and I are not. Listen, one thing that's going to happen, there's going to be two guys in this city holding their feet to the fire.
If nobody else, it will be us.
That's
no doubt.
you and I.
All right, my friend. Thank you for your time. As always, Chris Palermo, Palermo, PA. He's as you can tell, passionate about the Rays and passionate about this city and this region, as I am, to get this baseball stadium done and have us moving forward with our team, not Stu's. Hashtag remove Stu. All right, thank you to Greg Auman, who came on today. Also, Bobby the Chief Taylor and Chris Palermo as well. Don't forget, if you missed anything, you can download the app and listen to the whole thing or at fanstreamsports.com. Have a great night, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow.